What's up, you guys? Warnecker Revolution here, back at you with a Tootsie Toy restoration video. This is a number 1018 Jumbo Sedan Tootsie Toy, made in 1942 through 1946. And this one's kind of interesting because I think because of World War II, they made the wheels actually wooden on this model versus rubber, which they were making them originally. They kind of went to rubber, from rubber to wood to rubber again, but just after the wartime years I think they started using rubber again, so they needed the rubber for the war effort. But anyways, you can see this Tootsie Toy has seen better days. Its paint is coming off, as you can see. It's not in the best of condition for sure. I don't know what car this is originally based on, so I couldn't show you a picture of what it looks like in real life because I'm not really sure. It could just be a design, based on someone's creative mind. But as you can see here, I'm taking off the wheels of the model with my vice grips, as per usual. You just kind of put a vice grip on the middle axle, and then you put a vice grip on the nail part of it, and you twist and pull at the same time, and your axle is released. So those were the front wheels that I was just working on, and these are the back wheels. But yeah, just that pulling, twisting method gets the axle bit right out of the sleeve. So that's really good. It's really useful knowledge to know if you ever want to restore one of these on your own. Just take some vice grips and take the wheels off. Some of the models in Tootsie Toy, they don't come like this, but the ones from the 40s, the wheels and the axles come off just like that. But now it's time to take the paint off, so I'm dumping some paint stripper all over the model, as you can see. And I'm going to just take this paintbrush and move it around, make sure it's on all the painted surfaces, so the whole car itself. So that's what we're doing here. Zoom in a little bit so you guys can see better. But I noticed right when I started putting this paint stripper on, like almost immediately it starts coming off the paint. I guess because it's just so old and just kind of wants to come off, I guess. Old faded paint. We're just gonna repaint this and do some other things, so I'll show you in a bit. But here I left the paint stripper on there for a good 15 to 20 minutes. I think it was more like 20 minutes. But the paint, you gotta leave the paint stripper to sit on there for at least that amount of time. But here I'm taking it all off with a paintbrush, not a paintbrush, toothbrush, old toothbrush that I didn't need anymore. Gotta get really into that grill area, make sure you get all the nooks and crannies of the model, but mostly that grill area because there's a lot of detail where the paint can get stuck and whatnot. So that's what I did here, and now I'm cleaning it off the model with a rag, just trying to get all that bad for the environment paint stripper off the model, so I don't have to wash the paint stripper down the drain, because you're not supposed to do that. So I'm just wiping it off with this rag, which I'll probably end up throwing away. But now next is I'm taking the paint that's on these grooves in the model. I'll zoom in so you guys can see better, but like on top of the door handles, there's paint stuck to there that I have to get off with this safety pin that I'm using. And then there's other little cracks, like the casting lines, like paint wants to get stuck in there. This back bumper area, paint wants to get stuck to that, so we got to clean all that off. Just the lines of the model, you have to make sure you get all the stuff out of there, all this detail work, all these lines. Gotta really make sure you get all the paint off all those areas. So then when you paint it, the paint sticks better to the model and it doesn't flake off in these areas where the old paint was sitting. So as you can see, there's these tiny little details of the model, all these lines that really give a lot of detail to the model itself. You have to go into with the safety pin and get all these loose bits of paint off. So that's what I'm doing here. Obviously this footage is sped up so you guys aren't all bored to tears or anything like that, because this did take me quite a bit of time. Anyways, this back bumper area was giving me grief for sure. It's right near that casting line, so trying to get it out as best I can, all the areas that need it to get the paint out. You wouldn't believe how many areas had little paint just wedged in them, I guess. It's quite a bit. But it's looking pretty good at this point. I mean, there's some bits here and there, and like I see at the front end that I need to get that out. So I get that out and really fixed her up. But the front end of this car looks really, really cool, my opinion. Definitely a cool design, whoever designed this car to look the way it does. I think it looks very awesome. Very Art Deco, I guess you could say. Anyways, I'm just pointing out the areas of the car that need some filing. File them down a little bit, because the car's got some flashing issues where the metal came out of the mold, and you know, just imperfections in the casting overall. So try to clean those up with a file here. So yeah, that's what we're up to now, is just filing that down. I couldn't find a file that's small enough for these windows, but did the best with what I had, and I think, you know, it ultimately looks pretty good. Really trying to get that very, very back end of the window. So I guess here we go. And yeah, I think I got it pretty well. And then the other windows look pretty nice, so the casting isn't that bad overall. The window just in the front, you know, there's those two front windows before the windshield. Those ones are pretty good. This kind of bothered me that there was like you know, an area in the casting where it kind of dips down, but you know, I guess you just have to, you know, live with it. Can't really straighten it out, so just checking these other windows to make sure there's no bad flashing or imperfections in the casting. I see that the back window is kind of like misshapen, so I try to file it down to make sure that it's kind of straighter, I guess. And I think it looks a lot better than it did. A lot straighter. I think it looks nice. So about this time, thinking, you know, I think I got everything, and let's get this ready for paint. So I'm outside, gonna spray some paint on this model, and I thought I picked the right color, and I think I did, like the closest color I could to painting this what it was originally painted. But yeah, I'm just spraying it on. And this is what it looks like after I painted it, and you'll soon see what it looks like, you know, after the paint's dried and I put the wheels back on and stuff like that. But first, let's look at what it used to look like. Just a little reminder. You know, very heavy paint loss. You know, the color is definitely there originally of what it was. So I tried to find the best paint I could to mimic that same color. I think it's a very subtle, you know, subtle green color. Almost like, do you ever see those old containers of, like, people would call it jadeite, or like special, they're like porcelain containers, but they're like this green color. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but it's kind of like that, just different green color. But this is our final result, guys, of the color we went with. That's very similar to the original, if not the same color. You know, it looks a lot better. You can, you know, a lot better for sure. Different. I don't know if it's that different in the color of it. I decided not to paint any of the details on this car because they weren't painted originally like that. So I thought I would keep it almost as original as possible. And something else about this is that there are little details of like the ends of the axles. I usually polish those up, make them look like new, but I decided to keep them, you know, how they were, so it gives a older feel to the whole design.